Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cop Council. How are we, chat? How hopefully all of you are having a fantastic day wherever we are around the world. And welcome back to yet another match reaction. Of course, Liverpool have just dominated Marseille by 3-0. And look, let's be honest, it could have been a lot more. Let's not lie around it. Again, Marseille, very decent team. Obviously in the French league, I believe they're third currently in Ligue 1. But Liverpool did dominate the game from start to finish, in my opinion, at least. And again, it's better. It's what it's better. It's what we want. It's what Liverpool tend to do. And again, it's really frustrating that we can't do or can't play like this again every single week, because again, away from home in the Champions League, again being a bit more on the counter attack as well. Again, Liverpool look at their best so far this season, and I think again that's something that needs to be worked upon. But still, it's a good sign that Liverpool are one step away from, or I should say 1 point away from again qualifying for the top 8 of the Champions League. Of course, at the minute we are currently in 4th in the table, but still Liverpool just need 1 point at home, to Karabakh to again secure top 8. But again, let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments. Be very intrigued to know your guys' thoughts down below. Your guys' man of the matches, your thoughts overall on the game. Because look, like I said, I think Liverpool did dominate. Personally, I think we from minute one. I think again Marseille had 1 or 2 chances. Like the only one that I can think of off the top of my head is the Greenwood one, where Ali had to make a really good save off of that. But apart from that, I think Liverpool dominated the game on an overall aspect of it. I think obviously we can talk about individuals. I think again, but as a whole team collective, it was a decent performance. Again, look, we didn't have, like I said, we didn't have the ball as much as we normally do, but still, I do look at it and go, it's kind of a good performance where again Liverpool have dominated when we've had the ball and been able to obviously counter and attack very well. But the one thing I would also say is the disappointing point about tonight is the fact that Liverpool could have won by a lot more by 3 goals. We could have won 5 or 6 if we had taken our chances. Mo Salah with a couple of chances, which again is good to see Mo back as well. Of course, obviously he's back now from AFCON. Ekatike hitting the post as well. The chance he should have finished. But again, the Liverpool didn't get caught out tonight in terms of our lack of composure in front of goal. But again, Liverpool get winning by 3-0. I think that pretty much writes itself, really, that Liverpool did dominate quite well in that aspect of things. But again, I think you can talk about loads of individuals tonight. I think you can talk about both fullbacks. I think you talk about Joe Gomez, Florian Wirtz, again, adding his stamp to this Liverpool team yet again. Again, Dom Szoboszlai is in the Champions League immense at the minute, which, again, I think he's been immense the entire season. The last couple of games, he has a little bit struggled, or at least a little bit, taking a dip really in his form. But I think for me, he's been excellent again, especially in the Champions League this season. Anyway, but again, let me know your guys' thoughts. Anyway, there's 13 people in right now. Again, let me know your guys' thoughts on Liverpool beating Marseille. But you look happy, Con, for once. For once, Ollie. Hopefully doing well, my friend. Ifan Gomez stayed fit. Love him as well. Yeah, Joe Gomez thought he had a really top performance. Again, it's great to see a centre half that can pass, forward and can actually build as well in terms of build up. Look, I'm not saying, of course, Ibu Konate can't build up, but I think, when we're talking about being on the ball a bit more, I think Konate, I think Joe Gomez is better than Konate in that aspect of things. I think if we're talking about a player that should out-muscle a defender and be a bit more physical, I think Konate is better than Gomez in that sense. But I do think if we're talking about dominating the ball, if we're talking about a team or a player, that again can pass and move very quickly, I think Joe Gomez is perfect. But the problem is, as you say, Ollie, Joe Gomez staying fit is, it's a rarity, isn't it? But again, top performance from him tonight as well. Icon, good performance tonight. Really hope Szoboszlai signs a new contract. I think he will do. But again, I wouldn't be too surprised if top teams try and snatch him away. But again, I think Dom will stay at Liverpool. Love Gomez. If only he could stay fit. Yeah, absolutely. To be honest, the whole team played well as well. Yeah, no, they did. Like again, the only annoying thing I can say about the game as an overall is that we didn't take our chances. Liverpool didn't end the game 5 or 6-0 because we had those chances. Even though again, I'll take a look at the stats now. Again, we had 42% of the ball, but we only made 11 shots. But watching the game, you would think Liverpool should have won 5 or 6 goals, in my opinion, at least. Anyway, I think Liverpool, in my personal opinion, I thought we played to where we should have been scoring 5 or 6 in this game. Because again, the Salah chances, I think Mo had 2 chances, didn't he? He just completely wasted. And again, the first half in particular, when we was hitting the counters, that we wasn't doing the right passes, or we wasn't creating the right moment, really. And I think, once that clicks, and I think once that works, I think, again, Liverpool will batter teams. But the big problem is, and I think even going into next week as well against Karabakh, Liverpool will be dominating the ball yet again. And that's the key difference is, again, against Marseille, were, we allowed them to have the majority of the ball. You had Ekitike and Salah mainly used as, wingers, really. And then obviously Dom and Flo would be obviously operating the central positions and then trying to, kind of a 4-2-4, or 4-4-2, really, if you want to work it out like that. And we kind of just settled into a shape and then allowed Marseille to work around us, really. And I think, again, that works against, Marseille, where, again, they want to be on the ball a lot more. But again, it's Karabakh. You want to be on the front foot. You want to be dominating the ball and trying to get chances. But I kind of hope that next week isn't going to be the case again, where we've seen Liverpool already this season against a Burnley, or again against Forest at home, or even PSV at home, where they just completely battered us. Everywhere in that game, in that scenario, of course. But do you think if Mo was wearing an Egyptian shirt, he scores that chance? Possibly. But look, Mo's fine, isn't he? Again, with his first game back. Your man of the match, Con. To be honest, though, I would agree with you, Ollie. I think, for me, man of the match for tonight was Milos Kerkez. I thought he was brilliant. I think he has slowly been getting up to speed, and now we're seeing, the player that we signed from last season. We are seeing what Milos Kerkez can offer this Liverpool team. And again, there is still one or two things with his game. I think, sometimes he can maybe slow things down a bit more and not be so high rate, if that makes sense. But I think on an overall aspect of things, he is growing in this Liverpool team. He is now becoming the left back that we bought. And tonight, again, defensively, again, like I said, Greenwood had one chance, but realistically, when he was going 1v1 with Kerkez was coming out on top. But it's been like that now for the last couple of weeks, where Kerkez has built his confidence up. And now, again, I don't think anybody can argue that Kerkez, shouldn't be in this Liverpool team week in, week out, because he's performing now at a good level defensively and going forward. Because again, we're not asking him to tuck inside and be that third centre back. We're actually, asking him to be a wing back and trying to actually go forward and attack. And again, there was a couple of crosses where he could have done a bit better, but for me, I thought he was excellent. Again, and look, I think with Kerkez, he is purely down on confidence. He's a confidence-based player. And right now, he's full of confidence in this Liverpool team. And for me, I think, again, you build him up with that. Of course, he's going, be back to Bournemouth now on the weekend, won't it? Away from home. Again, that's another confidence builder where, again, you hope that, again, he can obviously add to where he currently is in the Liverpool team. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if Robbo did come in because of the games he's played. But I also look at it and go, where, for me, I also think that Milos Kerkez, again, can add another element to this Liverpool team and to himself as well. Because again, I think one of the things that he's now starting to do is kind of now start, like he did at Bournemouth, with those deep lying runs in behind, where, again, if we've got a Mo Salah, we've got a Hugo Ekitike also running in behind on the other side, you can then create those, cuts across and hopefully, tap-ins as well. But I think for me, Kirkez, yeah, man of the match for sure. I think, like I said, Dom, Flo, I thought had a decent game. If Ekitike's got that chance, he's got a decent shout of it, really. But again, Dom, Flo, Joe Gomez, like I said, Milos Kerkez, top performers for me. But yeah, I think everyone, today really. Maybe not so Allison, because Allison didn't really have anything to do apart from that Greenwood chance, like I said. But one of these days, we are going to put 6 or 7 past someone. At least we are creating chances. That's true. To be fair, I did see a stat, which was kind of shocking, which was that Liverpool, it's the first time since the Tottenham semi-final in the Carabao Cup where Liverpool have turned a 2-0 lead and turned into a 3-0 lead. Now, when I read that, I was kind of shocked. Let me just double check I've actually seen that right. Hang on a minute, chat. Where are we buying it? Because I did retweet it because I thought it was a mental stat. So it's the first time since that Tottenham game in Anfield where, this is the first time since Liverpool have turned a 2-0 lead into a 3-0 lead in any match since last season's League Cup semi-final, second leg against Spurs. It's Liverpool's 52nd game since that game in all competitions, which is terrible for one thing. But like we said, apart from that game in particular, we don't win games more than 2-0. And let's be honest, it's been a while, and even like if we win a game like 3-2 or 2-1, we need to start doing that a lot more. And again, I think it will now with obviously Mo coming back, Ekitike as well. Obviously, we'll get the best out of him as well. But the one thing I would say is for us to, again, for that stat to be that crazy, you need to start taking chances. And again, we are creating them. Again, I think if you look at the Champions League stats, you look at the Premier League stats, Liverpool, in terms of chance created, are up there with the best, up there with, again, Arsenal, Man City still, Real Madrid. Again, Liverpool are creating, just we can't finish at the minute. And again, defensively, we look more solid. Because the one thing I will give Arne Slot credit for at the minute is he stopped the set-piece goals. At the minute, Liverpool have stopped conceding set-piece goals, which is a good thing, because, again, we were conceding way too many of them. And look, for me, that's the main important thing. Again, set-piece goals, that's the main thing to cancel out. We've cancelled it out. And, again, Liverpool are not conceding many chances. Or conceding goals in that aspect as well. But best Liverpool game since the last season. Old Liverpool, that not even an overreaction. Proof is in the pudding as well, says Cal as well. Hope you do well, Cal, as well. But Mo's finished as well. Is Mo finished? Well, to be fair, or do you mean the Mo finished that he completely messed up? Because he did mess it up, didn't he? Let's not lie around it. I try. Mo Salah does not trust his right foot at all. And yeah, it's not great, is it, when your top finisher at your club doesn't really trust his other foot, really. In that aspect, it's not really great anyway, or any shape or form. But look, obviously the Champions League, I will try and get up the Champions League table, because I don't know, can I look at it on my phone or won't it let me do it? How will I chat? Will it let me look at it? Yeah, so the top 8 as it currently stands in order is obviously Arsenal first, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Liverpool, Tottenham, PSG, Newcastle, and Chelsea. Now, from PSG, and again, we're going past the top 8 in this aspect of things, all the way down to 13th. All the way down to 13th for Atlanta. All of them are on 13 points. This is why next week against Karabag it is so crucial Liverpool get 3 points just to make sure we're safe and that there's not going to be any drama. because again, Liverpool currently on 15 points. But again, 1 point you'd think would get us through because again, 16 points, but the goal difference for Liverpool compared to the others isn't so great. For example, like PSG are on +10, Newcastle are on +10, and then everyone else, again, Chelsea +6, Barca +5, Sporting +5, Man City +4, Atletico Madrid +3. Again, Liverpool have got decent in that aspect of things, but again, a win against Karabakh next week is what's mainly needed, in my opinion, anyway. But how did he get so white? Inter are so overrated, crap side as well. Yeah, I don't think. Well, again, next week, I don't know the games next week in the Champions League, but I'm actually, to be fair, I will quickly have a look who any like decent games for next week. Actually, to be fair, is it even next? You know, it is next week. Everyone plays on Wednesday. So, so there you go. So Newcastle and PSG play each other. So that's one game that Liverpool don't, or one team at least Liverpool don't have to look at. Napoli and Chelsea, that's a big game as well. Tottenham away to Frankfurt. Any other good games in this? Atletico Club and Atletico Bilbao and Sporting, that'll be a decent game as well. So some decent ones in there, but not too many, really. But again, it's a good round for Liverpool in that sense. But again, I expect Liverpool to obviously win and beat Karabakh, and hopefully, again, have a decent run then in the Champions League. Unlike last season, when again we got PSG, who then went on to win the Champions League. Either way, but yeah, talking about performances though, and again, we talked about Milos Kerkez, but I do want to talk about Dom a little bit because look, the last couple of weeks, I think people have kind of not written off Dom. I'm not saying that, but I do think with Dom, for me, he's been Liverpool's best player on an overall sense of things. I think lately, Florian Wirtz has become Liverpool's best player because again he's getting the goals, he's getting the assists, and again it's not only that, the link up play with Flo as well. I think personally, going forward, he has been our creator really, but I think in an overall sense, I think Dom has been the heartbeat of this team this season, and again so far he's second now, or in terms of goals and assists in the Champions League this season. And he's been Liverpool's best player, in my opinion. I think when people turn around and say, like, I've seen people on social media say, like, oh, Dom's been crap, and, Dom's been crap for a while, and people won't have it because he's been Liverpool's, people say he's Liverpool's best player this season. I think, personally, yeah, I think he is. But I look at it and go, without Dom this season at times, Liverpool would have lost games, and lost even more games than what we have done. I personally think when we talk about him and getting a new contract, and when we talk about, who's going to be the guy that's going to, push Liverpool forward in the future, it's going to be him. It's going to be Dom. It's going to be Flo, Alexander Isak as well. I think will 100% be a success at Liverpool. But it's these guys that will push Liverpool forward. And again, he did it tonight. Again, running everywhere. In that false 9 role, or in the double 10 role, if you want. And I personally think him, Flo, they'll be the guys that will hopefully get us top 4. But I also think, and I agree with what Jamie Carragher said on CBS, I think this Liverpool team is way more suited to win the Champions League than the Premier League this season, if we were even in contention of winning the Premier League. If we were up there, for example. I think this side is just primed for European football, in my opinion. I don't know about you guys in that thought. I personally look at it and go, Liverpool have a very good chance of winning the Champions League this year. And that might be mad for me to say because, again, Liverpool been terrible this season. We've been awful. But in my opinion, I think Liverpool can go on to win the Champions League this season. And again, people go, "Oh, it's an overreaction from this game," possibly, but still, I do think this team is suited for Champions League, and I don't know. I think we've seen worse teams go on to win it. We've seen many games throughout European history where, again, it's unlikely, certain teams will go on to win and they end up going on to do very well in the Champions League. I think this team, if Isak can come back before the end of the season as well, if Liverpool's still in the Champions League, of course. But again, if Mo Salah can get back up to form, Ekitike, Flo as well, Dom, and again, we keep on sorting out our defensive problems in terms of not conceding. Again, I think Liverpool can easily go on and win the Champions League this season, but it will be one hell of a task because, I'm not going to sit here and go, like, do I think Liverpool will win the Champions League? At the minute, no. But, and again, who do I think is the team to stop? Personally, I think Bayern Munich are the team to stop this season in the Champions League. I know Arsenal fans will get their, anger out because, again, they're top of the league or top of the Champions League at the minute. But personally, I think Bayern Munich are the favourites to win the Champions League. I think PSG as well. I think people do kind of not realistically see them as retaining the Champions League. But again, nobody this time last year thought PSG would win the Champions League, and then they destroyed everyone in the knockout stages. I think, again, them two, for me, are the teams to beat. I think even though Arsenal are top of the Premier League at the minute, top of the Champions League, I think, if anything, Liverpool have shown this season that Arsenal can be got at. Again, Liverpool the only team to not concede against Arsenal this season. And in my opinion, again, I think other teams can get at Arsenal. But I think when we talk about back and forth and when we talk about pound for pound, I think Liverpool, can beat anyone really. But again, it depends. Again, I don't want Real Madrid in that sense either, because we all know what happens with Real Madrid and Liverpool, unfortunately anyway. But Colin, any idea what happened to Canate? Yeah, it was a family issue. I think Canate's been back in France since Monday. As far as I think Lewis Steele said it, that he's been back since Monday. So yeah, obviously we hope that everything's all good with Ibu as well. But yeah, I think obviously didn't feature tonight for obviously that reason. But yeah, hopefully everything is all good and okay with Ibu's family or anything to do around with Ibu as well. But yeah, it's a family reason. Yeah, as you said there, all I heard it was a personal family reason. Yeah, there's been no word around it really. I agree with you, Con. We've already beaten Arsenal and Madrid, so we are definitely in with a shot of winning the European Cup. Yeah, I think this team, the way we're built, like again, it's all about gelling now, isn't it? Because again, we've added Mo back to this team now as well. I think we did the perfect thing tonight, really, where again, Ekitike and Mo were realistically operating the wide areas, and then when we had the ball would come inside, and obviously Flo and Dom would drop, and it become kind of like a 4-2-2, but also kind of like building up as a 4-4-2, really. And I think we've seen that more often. I think the big problem for Liverpool, we've seen system changes in Europe, but we've seen the same stuff in the league. And again, we saw a kind of a 4-3-1-2 where we had Isak and Ekitike up top, and then it was obviously it was Maka in the 10, wasn't it? But I think all of us said at the time, like, if Flo was in that position, it'd be better suited for him. We've seen tactical change from Slot in Europe. We've not seen in the Premier League. In the league, we've definitely not seen like the 4-3-1-2. We've not seen tonight, for example. The only time we've seen something like this is when we went Palace away, and it was the wrong setup. It was the wrong system to go for. But we've not seen that again against Burnley on the weekend. We went back to 4-2-3-1. And it didn't work again. And I kind of think sometimes playing like we did tonight might benefit against the teams that you're trying to break down. Because again, you've got Frimpong, you've got Kirkes trying to break the lines. Again, you've got Mo, you've got Ekitike. And I know people will say, oh, you couldn't really do it because you didn't have Mo. But then you could have played Cody. You could have swapped Hugo over to where Mo was. And you could have put Cody where Ekitike was tonight. So it's all about building up, really. And of course, against Bournemouth, you're gonna probably expect a kind of like a game like today, really, where you probably expect Bournemouth to be at it from minute one. Again, obviously Areola. Sides, again, they like to press from the front. They like to be, again, in your face. And I think, again, Liverpool kind of face similar tasks to what we did tonight. But I think it's going to be more. It's going to be more difficult because, again, in the league, they could even do the opposite and kind of sit back and give Liverpool the ball and try and counter, which they probably will end up doing as well. But big up Zayn as well, saying the third goal Liverpool scored was absolutely outstanding as well. Yeah, it was tonight, to be fair. Again, when Cody finally buried it as well, which, look, to be fair to him, he has been annoying, and let's not lie around it. Cody Gakpo has been very annoying for Liverpool this season, but again, he is getting the goals and assists at the minute, which is, it is getting us the points, really. But again, we'll have to wait and see what happens anyway. But look, I think I'm going to leave it there for tonight, guys. Big thank you for all of you guys for tuning in to the post-match as well, or the match reaction, I should say. Look, tomorrow, obviously, what is tomorrow? Tomorrow we'll probably talk more about the game, talk about other things as well. To be fair, there will be shorts on the channel tomorrow, and maybe we might do a transfer show because, again, we're getting linked to Mickey van der Ven. I have my thoughts on that. But yeah, Mickey van der Ven's been mentioned. There's other things that, of course, have been mentioned, but make sure you do stay tuned for the YouTube short as well, because, again, they pop up now and again as well. But again, if you're new around here, of course, please do hit that like button and hit the subscribe button as well. Very much appreciate it, as always. But yeah, hopefully you guys have a fantastic rest of your Wednesdays. And yeah, I'll hopefully see you guys tomorrow for another episode. But I've been Connor from the Cock Council. We'll see you guys a bit later on. Ta-ra.